Have you ever wondered why some research projects get funded while others, seemingly just as important, don't get any funding? In the world of scientific research, funding is the lifeblood that keeps the heart of discovering new ideas beating. It's the fuel that propels breakthroughs and advancements. But there's a problem. The way research funding is currently allocated often follows a narrow focus influenced by biases that are all too human. There was recently a conference on the use of AI in research management that was held in Brussels by the European Association of Research Managers and Administrators, where they discussed the snowball effect, where previous grant winners often had an advantage in winning future funding. These experts say that using AI tools could allow science to break out of a cycle where only a narrow pool of researchers receive grants. Again, these particular researchers are more likely to receive grants because they have previously been successful in doing so. Susie Kondo, who is the director of Researcher and Community Engagement at Digital Science, told these experts that research sometimes suffered from a snowball effect, where again, previous grant winners had an advantage in winning future funding. And we're going to discuss that bias and explore it deeply here in this video. The current state of research funding, quite frankly, leaves a lot to be desired. The spotlight often shines on areas that are deemed to be hot topics or trending, while other equally crucial research fields are left in the shadows. This bias towards select areas of research often leads to an oversaturation of funding in those fields while leaving others parched for resources. And it's not just about what is being researched, but also who is doing the research. Underrepresented researchers who bring fresh perspectives and novel approaches often find the doors of funding closed to them, creating a barrier to diversity and innovation in science. This narrow focus and bias in funding distribution have far-reaching consequences. It results in overlooked research areas that could hold the key to significant scientific breakthroughs. It stifles the voices of underrepresented researchers, hindering the progress of science in its quest for comprehensive knowledge. But what if we could find a way to level the playing field and ensure a more equitable distribution of research funding? What if there was a way to mitigate these biases to identify underrepresented researchers and untapped research areas and to provide real-time feedback to grant applicants? This is the systemic issue that needs an innovative solution. Could artificial intelligence be the key? Stay tuned as we delve deeper into this intriguing possibility in the next segment. Enter artificial intelligence, AI, a technology that promises to revolutionize many aspects of our lives, including research funding. Imagine a world where biases in research funding are minimized, where underrepresented researchers are identified and their groundbreaking methods are brought to light. This is the potential of artificial intelligence when applied to the realm of research funding. Artificial intelligence has the ability to analyze vast amounts of data quickly and efficiently. It can sift through thousands of research proposals, identify those that offer innovative approaches, and come from researchers who have traditionally been overlooked. In this way, AI can help to ensure that a more diverse range of perspectives is represented in the research that actually gets funded. And in the conference, Susie Kondo asserted that if AI could be used in the early stages of grant processing to identify researchers or novel methods, new methods that may not have received attention otherwise, these could be mitigated. What's also important here is that during the panel discussion, she said that this is an idea that ran counter to an argument that using AI in research management was a risk because it might amplify certain biases in funding, In her words, funding is one part of a very biased system that we're working within already. You tend to award funding to people who have proven themselves to a certain level, published papers in certain journals, she said. And these are the people that tend to get more funding, leaving new researchers out of the picture. However, as with any tool, artificial intelligence can also be a double-edged sword if not properly developed and monitored. AI can inadvertently perpetuate existing biases in the system. As Susie Kundu also mentioned in this conference, funding is one part of a very biased system that we're working within already. You tend to award funding to people who have already proven themselves to a certain level, published papers in certain journals, she said. For example, if the AI is trained on past funding decisions that were biased, it may learn to replicate those biases. It's crucial, therefore, that the development of these AI models is undertaken with care and oversight, and that they are regularly checked for bias. Moreover, AI should not replace human decision-making in this process. Instead, it should assist in identifying promising research and researchers, providing valuable feedback to grant applicants, and highlighting untapped areas of research. The final decisions should still be made by human experts who can take into account the nuances and complexities that AI might miss. AI, when deployed with responsibility and care, has the potential to open up new avenues and research funding. It offers a chance to move away from a narrow focus and towards a more inclusive and diverse research landscape. This is the hope that artificial intelligence brings to the table, a hope for a more equitable and innovative future in research funding. What typically happens in real-life research funding looks a little something like this. You often have a research institution flooded with grant applications, each brimming with potential and innovation. The institution, however, has limited resources and must make tough decisions on where to channel its funding. In the past, this process was largely manual, with a small panel of experts making the final call. It was a system fraught with bias and limitations, often leading to that narrow focus on certain research areas. Now, let's look at this scenario through the lens of AI. The institution decides to experiment with a new AI model designed to analyze grant applications. This model is trained to assess the novelty, potential impact, and feasibility of each proposal, taking into consideration the diversity of research fields and diversity of researchers. The goal is to make research funding more equitable and broad-based. The AI model scans through thousands of applications, sifting through the jargon and complexity to identify the most promising proposals. It considers a wide array of factors, from the applicant's publication history to the proposed research methodology. The AI would also be programmed to recognize underrepresented researchers and untapped research areas, bringing them to the forefront. The results could be promising. The institution would ultimately notice a shift in its funding distribution. That's the ultimate goal here. Previously overlooked research areas are now receiving attention, and underrepresented researchers are getting their fair share of the pie. In this scenario, the AI model has helped the institution to diversify its funding and support a broader range of research. But it's not smooth sailing. The AI model has its limitations, of course. It's only as good as the data it's trained on. If the training data is biased, the model's decision could be biased too. It's a delicate balancing act requiring careful oversight and constant refinement. Moreover, the AI model can't replace human decision-making entirely. It can guide and inform, but the final call still rests with the human experts. They must interpret the AI's recommendations, weighing them against their own knowledge and experience. Which brings us back to another statement from Kundu from the Brussels conference. She added that although it would be exciting to see AI and machine learning identify under the radar researchers, projects, or teams, funders would need to be incredibly careful and considerate in building AI models for such a purpose. If we're using training data from research information that exists, it's so riddled with biases already that we run the risk of propagating some really damaging traits. And that's definitely something we need to look out for, and that should be taken into consideration heavily when developing AI to combat biases in research funding. As seen in this case study, AI can indeed play a significant role in transforming research funding, but it's not without its challenges. So what does the future hold for research funding with AI? As we've discussed throughout this video, AI holds immense potential to revolutionize the way research funding is allocated. It could potentially mitigate these biases, identify those underrepresented researchers, and shine a spotlight on untapped research areas. But this future isn't guaranteed. It's contingent on the responsible development of AI models, ones that don't just replicate the existing issues in our systems. Moreover, while AI may be a game changer, it's not a replacement for human insight. There will always be a need for human touch in the process. AI is a tool that can help us make more informed decisions, but it's up to us to use it wisely and ethically. With AI, we might just be looking at a future where every deserving research project gets funding. Wouldn't that be lovely? It needs a future where science breaks out of its narrow funding focus, and that is a pretty exciting prospect. If you enjoyed this video, please consider subscribing to the channel, hitting that like button. Again, here at the Tech Agitator, we're exploring all things AI, and I look forward to seeing you in the next one.